Okay, well, it's George Sabados and Barry Little here with Ian Kingwill from Send Out Cards, and I just wanted to welcome you today, Ian, to the call. And it's really a pleasure to have you here and to speak about relationships and connection. I guess in a time like this, your business is all about relationships and connection.
No, thanks, Barry and George. Really a pleasure to be on this call, and look forward to having a chat. And as you said, relationships are probably becoming even more and more important in this day and age, and the issues that everybody in the world's going through, because everybody needs a little bit of TLC. We just need a little bit of love, and some people more so than others. So yeah, it'll be a fun time just to have a chat about it, and hopefully we can brighten somebody's day somewhere with this, what we talk about.
Yes. Well,
Fantastic.
firstly, you're providing a damn good service. I have a friend who probably is responsible for half your card traffic down at Shoalhaven Heads. Her name's Sandra Groom, and Sandra and Gerald, and they and I could never understand how they kept track of everyone's special events, their birthdays, their anniversaries, Christmas, Easter. And they always had these lovely cards with their faces on them and lovely little messages inside. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea and how you started.
No, I didn't actually come up with the idea. Somebody in America actually came up with the idea, and I'll give you the story, which is probably the best way of starting that. And,
You're not that clever.
No, I'm not that smart. That's how you get successful. You use other people's ideas.
Yeah, copy and paste. Yeah, good.
Yes. But I think it was in 1989, the guy that founded it, a guy called Cody Bateman, was in Salt Lake City, and he was actually traveling from Salt Lake City to New York. He had a job offer, and he was saying goodbye to all his family. And they weren't the touchy-feely, give everybody a hug type thing, and he waved to his brother just to say goodbye. And he thought, yeah, I should give him a hug, but he didn't. Anyway, 3 months later, he was in New York, and he gets a phone call in the middle of the night from his mother to say that his brother Chris had actually been killed in an electrical accident on a tennis court. And he regretted it. And he thought, well, I wish I'd had that chance to say goodbye. And one of the things we probably don't do all the time is we don't act on our promptings. And that was part of it. He sort of had a bit of a prompting. He should have given his brother a hug.
Yeah.
And he thought about it over the years, and he came up with various ideas from these post-it notes and reminder type things where you can remind you to act on your promptings. And the basis of what Send Out Cards is that quite often we want to send a card to somebody, but it's just so difficult to actually go to the store and buy that card and find the right card that you want to actually put the right message in to convey whatever you're feeling about that individual. And you don't have the time. Sometimes they're quite expensive. Then you get the card, and then you've got to go and write the message, and you forget it, and you get distracted, and then you write the message and you put it in an envelope, and you never get down to the post office, and you never put a stamp on it, and it just never gets done. But with the beauty of what this system is that you can actually log on to your account anywhere, whether it's on your computer or on your phone with the app, and you can create the card that suits whatever the occasion may be. And you can take photos, you can take photos from Facebook or wherever they may come, and put that individual's picture on that card for whatever the occasion may be. And it's a tangible touch. It's physical when it turns up in the mail. And people say, yeah, it's printed and all that, but it's the time that you've actually taken to create that card that leaves the impact on the individual. And, you know, I talk about to people all the time, and they've received cards from them. They've still got cards from 3 and 4, 5 years ago, because there's something special to that person. And that's the basis of what it is, that you can actually go and log on anywhere, any place in the world, and create a card for whatever the occasion may be, put your message in it, hit submit, and it'll get printed and posted for you and turn up in the mailbox wherever that may be in the world. And you don't have to do anything, and you can do it whenever you can.
It's amazing, Ian and George. I actually just signed up for this program last week, and I sent a card to my wife last night on my mobile, or it might have been the night before. It'll come today in today's mail, I'm sure. And it was just amazing how easy it was actually on the mobile app. I just grabbed a photo, put it in a card, wrote a message, and it was done like that. And it was cheap. Yeah,
it's not expensive, and yeah, your costs are almost nothing for some of the cards. And we won't go into that unless you want to. But
no.
Yeah, your cards in the shops cost you $5, $6, $7. Yeah, these are less than 20% of that for the cost of the cards. and
Yeah.
plus your postage. But it's not just the cost of the card and the postage. It's the time that it takes you to go to a store.
Mm.
And
Time.
when you've got your system set up, and you were talking about your friend down at Shoalhaven Heads, and she sends out all these cards. She's using the system where it can all be done and sent to everybody and personalised to everybody. And
Yeah, it's incredible because she has thousands of people that she keeps in touch with, and they just
Yeah.
buy. I think they're on the package deal. I don't know what the
She would
packages
be.
are, but they're on the highest one or the biggest one. The thing is, Ian, with your particular business, then I take it there are people like you, or in every country around the world, so that you handle the local traffic. Is that right? Is that how it works? Or
we're basically all affiliates. I say them, I'm like a mortgage broker. And when a
Yeah.
mortgage broker does a loan for you as an individual with a bank, they'll organise the loan with you with that bank, and the bank will then pay that mortgage broker
Yep.
for what you pay on your loan each month, or what your loan is, and a trail.
Yep.
So like those, I'm a little bit like that, or a franchisee, where I find people that want to use the system. We set them up with an account with the company, and they can use that account whenever they want. They're not obligated to do anything. They're not locked into any contracts. And when they actually send cards and gifts, guess what? I get paid. And that's what it's all about. And also making the world a better place. That's the most important thing, I think. Yeah.
Well, how did you come across this business? I mean, you're not the founder.
Yeah.
And I take it you bumped into him somewhere. Did you in a bar somewhere?
No.
Right.
Not in a bar.
So,
somebody
I
shared it with me 12 years ago. And at that time, I wasn't a card sender. And my simple attitude was that we'd send cards to immediate family and friends and that sort of stuff. And most of that was actually done by my wife. And
Yeah.
when she sent the cards, beauty, job's done. Game over. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
People would say, "Oh, thanks for the card," and I'd be going, "What card?"
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And then somebody else introduced it to me again the next year, and they told me, I said, "I want to show you something about this," and I said, "What is it?" And they told me, and I said, "No, I already know about it. I'm not interested because I don't send cards." And she said, "Oh, I'll buy you a copy and I'll show you." And I said, "Okay, we'll do that," and because she was a friend. And the one thing that she said to me, it was all about building relationships and maintaining relationships. And because we're talking with real estate scenario, the first person I thought of was a guy called Bruce McLaughlin. I don't know if you know him at all. He's here on the Central Coast. He's been in the industry. His family's been in the industry for 70 to 100 years. Very well known.
Wow.
And he was a friend of ours. He's actually Craig McLaughlin's brother. And
Craig McLaughlin, as in.
yes, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does he have hair?
Sorry?
Does he have hair?
Craig or Bruce?
Both.
They both do.
Oh, they do. They haven't lost it yet. Okay.
No.
Sorry, mate. You just go on.
This is an interesting call. But the first person I thought about was Bruce, and keeping in touch with his his buyers and his sellers. And Bruce became a customer. And from that point, I started to understand. I didn't understand exactly the power of acting on your prompting and building a relationship. And the first time I really understood the power of acting on a prompting was I was in Sydney at something, and we stayed at my mother-in-law's place, and I found out my daughter-in-law had actually had her father pass away. And it was 10 o'clock at night. I went to the computer, logged in, found a suitable sympathy card, typed the message, hit submit. My job was done. I didn't have to worry about it anymore. It was done in less than 5 minutes. And that's how I became introduced. And over the course of time, I found a real passion for it. And I love sending cards continuously. I'm always looking for a reason to send a card now. And the card is not about me sending the card. It's about what it's going to do on the other end when that person receives it. And that's the most important thing. And it's a little bit like the old Maya Angelou saying, people will forget what you did, people will forget what you said, but people won't forget how you made them feel.
That's correct.
That's
correct. Well, so just to follow on from that, I'll give you my address at the end of this interview, and you can send me a love letter. That'd be really nice. But
I really enjoyed that.
But you know, you've obviously been in the game for over 10 years. You would have bumped into a lot of people. You would have had feedback from a lot of your customers. What are some of the highlights of the stories that they've shared with you?
Look, there's countless stories. I was doing a webinar last night for a group of people, and while I was actually doing that last night, I get this little message, thanks for the card, it was awesome. and from a friend up in Armidale, and he and his wife had a baby girl a couple of weeks ago, and I'd found that on Facebook, and they were just amazed to get that, and the stories of people receiving a card and being in tears, and not tears of upset, but tears of enjoyment. Classic stories. A friend of ours in Melbourne, she loves her dogs and her cats, and she's always putting them up on Facebook. And so I took the two photos that were relevant and put them on a card on the inside, and on the front of the card it says, "I bet you I can make you smile in less than 2 seconds," with a smiley face, a couple of smiley faces on the front. And then inside it says, "I told you I could." And and I hope this put a smile on your face and whatever. And she sent us a message to say, "I received that," and I was walking up the pathway and I opened the envelope, and I burst into tears because she loves those animals so much. And I actually received a message from, funnily enough, a real estate agent in Melbourne. His dog passed away the other day, and I sent him a dog sympathy card with his dog on the inside. And his partner messaged him to say she'd opened the envelope because it went to their home address, and she said, "You better ring this guy to say thank you." And that, look, we have that relationship with our pets, and it's just pet stories. And sometimes you see something happens in their life. I had a mortgage broker in Queensland who won an award for being the best mortgage broker in his area. And I did a card, and on the front of it, it just had, "I like it when good things happen to people like you." And across the inside of the card, I put the picture of him on stage with his name and everything on the board, saying he was the winner. And the message was just simply, "Hey, Scott, congratulations. You deserve all the recognition you get for all the hard work. It's a testament to your hard work," and whatever else I said. And he took the photos of that card and put it on Facebook. And then the message was that he wrote there, "I received the award and I was so proud to receive this award, but this card actually meant more to me than the award." And that's just sort of blew me away. Wow. It was just a simple saying, "Congratulations." Nothing
Acknowledgement.
More than that.
Acknowledgement.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, Ian. I'm surprised you don't have a bunch of groupies on your front doorstep, waiting for you to step outside in your Speedos, just so they can tear them off.
That's why he goes out at 5 a.m, George.
Oh. I sneak out in the dark so people can't find me, mate.
They're still in their tents on your front lawn. Still asleep. Ian, that does sound beautiful. I mean, I like I said, I marvel every time I receive a postcard from Sandra, and I just can't believe that someone's taken the effort to do that. We in this day and age when people have forgotten that form of communication that we grew up with, right?
Yeah, look, I think it's actually coming back, and the reason being is that we're in such a digital world, and there's no personal contact in that digital world. And Barry can attest that to me, I use LinkedIn in a big way, and I actually pick up the phone and talk to my connections and treat it like a networking group.
Well, that's how we met, I think. You picked up the phone because of LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you actually pick up the phone. That's amazing.
Talk to people. And look, I think it's going to become even more and more common.
You're scaring the bejesus out of people.
Yeah, but over time you build relationships. And look, I spoke to a lady this morning, and I was doing a call, and she was just the first 2 times she was very standoffish. And funnily enough, she was a real estate agent. And one of the first times I spoke to her, I said, "I can't remember you. I make 250 calls a week," that sort of thing. And she was just fobbing me off. But today, when I called her, and I've made the effort to make the calls because of what's going on in the world, to reach out to my connections and just say, "How you going?" And she was really appreciative of that call. But when I come back to what it was talking about social media, there's no relationship there. And my phone calls are part of that relationship. But I now send a card every time I can when I know that person and I've spoken to them, just saying thank you. And that cements in their mind that I'm actually genuine about connecting with them. And I wanting to build that relationship. There's no that I'm chasing Barry to get business out of him. But if I build that relationship, I don't even worry if people don't even ask me what I do. I'm more interested in them. And over time, you become known and remembered and things like that. And that's where the opportunities come to share business with each other and build those relationships. And funnily enough, business comes to you after a while, and people will refer business to you. And
sowing seeds,
continuously doing that. And that's the power of what a card can do for, in the real estate situation. Real estate is quite well known for being very transactional. People will go and sell a house and then chase the next sale. And I've got a friend that actually uses the system. He says, we're the worst enemy. We're our own worst enemy. We'll sell you a house, give you a gift, say congratulations, hope you enjoy the next whatever years in your house of your dreams. Then for the next 7 years, all they do is sending marketing material saying, look how good I am. I sold the house down the street. Are you ready to sell?
Yeah.
And he says, if they picked up the phone and said, g'day, how you going? Happy anniversary. How's the new baby? How's the new dog? Whatever it may be. And sent a card every now and then and kept on top of mind, they'd probably be remembered after 7 years when that person wants to sell the house or whatever the time frame is.
There wouldn't even be a decision, Ian. The people wouldn't even consider anybody else. There's no way.
Yeah. And probably they might even refer business to you. And because who's the guy that appreciates you all the time? This guy that keeps sending me cards. And I don't know if you know the story about Tom Hopkins at all. Tom Hopkins was a real estate agent in California and ended up being an international sales trainer. I think he's in his 70s or 80s, late 70s or early 80s. And he built his business on the thank you note. And when he sold a house, he'd send the thank you cards and things like that. But he'd also send birthday cards. And he sent birthday cards to the parents. And he did the unusual thing of actually sending birthday cards to the children. So who are those children going to remember in the future? He was thinking they were potential buyers and sellers in the future, but they're going to remember this guy that kept on sending me birthday cards for the last 10 years or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And just a simple top of mind. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Ian, in this day and age of like electronic addresses, like email addresses and LinkedIn profiles and Facebook profiles, it's often hard to get difficult to get the actual physical address for people. How do you go about recommending people, just keep track of that?
Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I was just saying it's often like, my address book, for example, is full of mobile phone numbers and email addresses, but nothing else.
Look, with my conversations, if it's a conversation that's not sort of warm and fuzzy and you're really building that really warm relationship, I'll probably just let it go. And quite often I can actually just look up that person on the internet, particularly when you're dealing with business people or real estate agents, you can find an office address or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if the conversation is going okay and you feel it's right, I'll just say, hey, George, can I get your postal address? Yeah. What do you want it for? I'm just going to send you a card. Okay. And people will give it to you. People will give it to you. And even though people have never, ever met me face to face and things like that, I do it continuously with conversations all around the world. And people will just give it to me without any dramas, because if you're genuine and they know why you're doing it, it's just being open and honest, I think. Simple as that.
Well, here's a question for you, Ian. I know you're not the bloke who does this, because otherwise your lips would be stuck together. But who actually prints off the card and folds it, puts it in an envelope, and licks the envelope?
Well, nobody licks it, but it's all printed and posted by machines. And currently they're doing 30 or 40,000 cards a day. So I send
you
out
mean
cards.
All bespoke?
Yeah, yeah.
They can. These machines can just whip up anything, just one at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
20 to 30,000 a day.
But when they get to the end of the year, which is Christmas time, they're actually doing about 1 million cards a day. And,
wow.
I've actually been to the factory, and you can see the cards going through, and they're all one after the other, and they're all barcoded and everything, and the envelopes and everything, and they just go in automatically.
So it's a centralised production house where, Ian?
Actually in Salt Lake City, yeah. And people might say, wow, it's in Salt Lake City. What's the drama of they'll never get here from Salt Lake City. But a number of years ago, they actually were being printed in Australia, and they had all sorts of issues with data download and things like that. If I send a card today, that'll actually be in the mail in Melbourne on Monday morning. Yeah.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazingly
fast.
Quick. Yeah. And it's actually even quicker than what it used to be. And we also always say it's going to take 4 to 7 working days to get wherever it is in the world. And sometimes it's less, but mostly it's pretty well within that time frame. And the only thing we can't control is the postal service, wherever that may be. But they will always have it out the door in that time frame, no matter what it is. Yeah. It's quite incredible, to be honest. Yeah.
That is
Amazing.
incredible.
Mm.
I take it that it wouldn't be possible really. You couldn't achieve those economies of scale, nor incur the setup costs to set up something like that over here.
Probably you could if you had the money in very deep pockets, but because
Yep.
it started in the back of a garage with a little printer, and
Yep.
the founder's wife they were lucky to do 100 cards. They were running off the cards on this little printer, and she'd pick up the kids from school, and they'd come home and they get all the cards, and the kids are putting the cards in the envelope, licking the envelopes and putting the stamps on and all that sort of stuff. To the post office to get them out. But now it's so, so functional. It's so simple. It works. Yeah, it's quite
Great.
incredible. Yeah.
Great. So what's next for Ian?
Ian will just continue on doing what he does daily because he loves it and enjoys it. And one of the beauties of what I do is I'm always making friendships and relationships all around the world. And Barry and I have become friends. And that's the beauty of business. Doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Someone told me you like real estate agents. That's surprising, isn't it?
There are some good ones, my friend.
Who said so?
There's going to be many more as well.
Yeah. And look, it's all about building relationships, and that's what business is about. Whether you're selling fish and chips or you're selling housing, you've got to build a relationship with the person somewhere. And
I agree.
Yeah, I had a conversation.
I agree. It's very, very important, Ian. I mean, getting back to how connected we are, but disconnected at the same time. I mean, I have 3,500 friends on Facebook, and every time I send out an invite, I hear crickets.
Yes.
Because we're close. We're this close, all of us.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
No.
I actually had a conversation with a real estate agent down at south of Wollongong prior to Christmas. And his comment was less presentation, more conversation. And all he was saying is that I need to build a relationship with those people that I'm potentially selling their house for or selling a house to. And he said they can all go on the internet and check out the houses for sale and see what's going on and look at the house they want to find. But I need to have a conversation with them to find out who they are, what they're actually looking for, and if I've got the right product for them. And no matter what industry you're in and selling, you're always selling something. And it's not the secret to selling is not actually selling; it's actually listening and finding a solution.
It's all listening. Yeah. It's all discovering what it is that they're up to and helping them get it. Yes. Even if it's just because you're acknowledging them for something, and that just inspires them to keep going with whatever they're up to.
It sounds like you know what you're talking about, Ian. Were you a real estate agent before this?
No, but I've been told I should be.
You could probably do well, I reckon.
Yeah.
I want to keep you my reputation, mate.
Oh, Barry, what'd you think of that? Who's that? Cheeky.
It's something that I've got one of my visions is to have over 1,000 agents in a network really well connected and that trust each other and are well respected by the community. Like this is something which we were as a profession many years ago, real estate agents. It used to be the post office box, the post office. It was the supermarket or the grocery store, and it was the real estate agent who was also the surveyor in most of these small towns once upon a time. So real estate agents used to be one of the most trusted professions in that there were, and somewhere along the way we've just lost our way a little bit. But I feel that there's a surgence back for that, and people are really yearning for that sort of connection, especially when it comes to buying and selling a home, and because the home is where the heart is. It's the place where your memories are, your families are, your friends are. It's just that place where it makes you feel a certain way. Like we said before, it's not about what you say or what you do. It's about how people feel and what we do in real estate. And it's all about relationships. And if somebody's story is, we bought this home off this agent who built a relationship with us and sent us cards and we've still talked to him in communication with, it's a very different story to, we had to fight the agent. The agent was always trying to do something to us. And if it's all a complaint, it changes the experience of the home. So there's real value in actually building relationship with people, and I love the card system, Ian. And I must admit, it's been years since I've been doing it religiously. I used to do it, every day. I'd send out 10 to 15 handwritten cards, and it's been years since I've done it because it's just I've just made it all too hard and there's too many other things. But I'm actually creating a new possibility after joining last week with this to have these cards going out regularly and purely from a acknowledgement of people and what they're up to in their lives. And I love what you're doing. I'm really loving what you're up to.
I think that's so important, and it's just as we said earlier, just recognising people and celebrating people for whatever the reason that may be, or just reaching out. And while you were talking there about agents and stuff like that, just made me think of another guy. I think he's down near San Susi somewhere in that area, and he's been doing it for years. Every year he actually picks up the phone for people's anniversaries in the house. And when last time I rang him, he was actually getting a referral from the lady down the street because the parents had passed away. They wanted to sell their estate. And these people had just referred them to this from this person, and it's just that human touch, the power of human connection. We can't do without it.
Yeah.
And we bring that back into vogue more often, and it's not just real estate; it's just in business in general. And we just seem to go further. And like you're talking about real estate, it made me think about coming from a country town, and the real estate agent was well known. We lived on a farm, and Dad dealt with the stock and station agents who was the real estate agent, and they're well known in the town, and they're well respected as well. But I think there's been a lot of greed probably over the last 10 years or so because of the high and rapid growth of housing prices. And anybody could join the industry, and there's no quality, I suppose, and sometimes came into it. And that's where people lost that little bit of respect at times. And there's some fantastic people out there, and I've met some great people. Yeah.
There's many great agents in the industry. And most people that we deal with are beautiful people. They're actually amazing people. And, it's interesting. A lot of this has happened since the internet. The internet came along, and I really noticed it from around 1990, 97, 98, more 98, 99 when in real estate, where it really started to take more of a hold, and more of the personable things started to take a back step to this automation. It was this thing that was meant to make our lives easier and better, has actually created a little bit of disconnection in some respects of these things that, like having a phone conversation with somebody, or sending that physical card like you're talking about. These sort of connections are connections that have us feel a certain way, very different to a connection through an email or an SMS, or something like that. It's just, it really has a different impact on the way it makes us feel.
As I said, there's a digital disconnection. That's really what it is. And we used to get excited when emails first came out and we're saying, "Oh, I got mail." Now we get emails and I just delete them all unless it's somebody important, because it's time consuming, and most of it's just salesy.
Yeah.
And that's where the beauty of the card can cross those channels. I think it's 8 or 10 times more likely to be open than a bill. Something physical in your hand, people will open it. And people know it's a card coming from Ian or Barry or whoever it may be, but they still get excited about opening it. Yeah. And they might know it's their birthday card, but they still get excited about it. And then the funny thing is, Barry's birthday might be on whatever day it is, and if it turns up a week late, it still has just as much impact. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great, Ian. I think on that note, I think
Well, Ian, before we finish up, Barry, Ian, how would someone contact you if they needed your services?
Do you want me to give out my phone number? Yeah.
No, well, your phone number or the email or the website address or email?
No, the best thing to do is give me a call. And because I said I like to talk to people, you find out what the person actually wants when you get an email that's so impersonal and you don't know who you're talking to. And I can probably answer the questions and point them in the right direction by a phone call. So they can give me a call anytime. Don't give me a call after 7 o'clock because I generally turn my phone off. Give me a call on the weekends. And 0416 163 955. Repeat that, 0416 163 955. And if anybody wants to catch up, I live somewhere near the entrance and happy to catch up for coffee as well.
Or a beer.
Or a coffee, yes.
Oh, that's great, Ian. Thanks very much for taking the time out to speak today, and really represenced. I know you've definitely represenced me to the value and the importance of sending cards and just connecting to people, and there's something that's I think is really going to have a big comeback starting this year.
Yeah, totally agree, and I think it's so important in this world, and particularly what's going on in this world at the moment. And
Yeah.
It's a great way to touch base with people we've forgotten about and probably need that little bit of TLC at this time in life. And
Yes, mate.
I think in the future that can be hugely rewarding for everybody. And I thank you for inviting me, Barry, and great to meet you, George. Yes.
Likewise, Ian.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks
And-
very
and
much,
the
guys.
cards in the
Hey,
mail.
Thanks, mate. I'll send you my address first.
Yes.
Thanks, Ian. I'll
Thanks,
see you
Thanks,
soon.
guys. See ya. Thank you.